Hello all. In the previous video, we spoke about git add command and git difference command. To summarize what we have discussed, git add command is basically used to stage files. So what I mean here is, it will move files from working directory to staging area. So let's say you have an untracked file or you have a tracked file which is modified. Git add command moves tracked modified files and untracked files to staging area. And whereas git difference command is used to see the differences. Basically, whenever you are moving a file to staging area or whenever you commit something, you have done some changes. So to view those changes, git difference command is used. But one thing what I have to mention here is git difference command doesn't work for untracked files. Let me explain that with an example. Okay, this is the git repository we were working on in the previous videos as well. Now, if I run git status here, so this git difference text is there. Let me do that. Okay, I don't want to track that. Okay, now let me run git status. You don't have, like, your repository is clean. Okay, you don't have anything. Okay, your repository is clean. Now I'll create one text file. So when I'm creating a new text file, the status would be untracked, right? Because that is a new file. I'll create one text file, okay? This is new git difference text version file, okay? And I'll name this as version difference. In the git ignore, since we were ignoring all the text files, I don't want this version difference file to get ignored. So that's why I'm negating this. Let me run git status command. So when I run git status command, what it is showing, version difference.txt file is untracked. Okay. Now I want to see what are the changes that are added to this version difference.txt file. So since we already discussed about the git difference command, I'll type git difference. So if you type git difference, it is not showing anything related to the version difference.txt. Okay. So when I type git difference, version difference.txt, it is not showing anything. Like, you might wonder why it is not showing the changes, because it is untracked. Let us try the same command with a tracked file. And we already know version.txt is a tracked file, right? Let me update something. This is sixth line of version.txt. Now, if you see, let me run git status now. So under the changes not staged for commit, you have this version.txt. So basically it is a tracked modified file and this is an untracked file. Now if I run git difference on version.txt, it will show you the differences. Here if you see, this is fifth line, okay? So here what you have added this line. So git difference is working for version.txt. So git difference works only for the tracked files. It doesn't work for untracked files. So you might wonder, what if I want to view the differences of untracked files? So how git thinks is, so you might have few files which could be untracked. So it doesn't make sense for the git difference command to show those changes or to show those differences, because if you explicitly tell git that you track this file, then it makes sense for the git to show the differences. Otherwise, showing differences for all untracked files, it's a hectic for the git, right? So that's why git difference doesn't work for untracked files. So let us talk about the git commit command. So already you would have seen I was working on a git commit command, right? But now we'll understand what it does. Okay. We already know how git works, right? So how git works is, initially you will have few files in the git working directory. Basically, this is my e-commerce folder, right? This is my project git repository. So you will have all these files. This is called a git working directory. Now when I when I make changes, when I make changes to these files, initially what I have to do, I have to move it to the staging area. Only the changes that are present in the staging area can be committed. So what is mean by commit? Okay, so commit is basically you are saving the changes in the Git repository. Now you have made changes in your repository, okay, or in your local folder, but it is not present in the Git database. Whenever you clone your repository, or whenever you create a new project on your local, Git will initialize a database. So database is the truth for everything, right? So whenever you make few changes, if you just put in your working directory, or if you just stage those like let's say you have some issues with your mission, and when you come back, you don't see those changes because those are not pushed to the database. Whatever are there in the database, those are actually persistent. Okay, so when like whatever the files or the changes that are present in the staging area has to move to the Git database, which is nothing but you are committing it. Whenever you say that you are committing it, you are basically taking the snapshot of the changes that were happened, and you are pushing those changes to the database. You are basically creating a new snapshot. So you are creating a snapshot of the changes that were made, and then you are storing that snapshot in the database. That is the meaning of the commit. You are pushing the changes to the database, or you are creating a new snapshot of it. Okay, now how to commit it? So basically if you see the Git commit, if I run here, if you see Git status, you have two files that are not staged. Let me stage these changes. Okay, Git add, I'll stage all the changes. Okay, now when I run Git status, here these files are present in the staging area. So if you see here, changes to be committed. Now when I want to commit these files, if I run git commit, you can specify message. So hyphen m stands for message. So without message also, like I can type with blank message also. But it's not a good practice if you give a blank message, because it's not just you working on the project. There are other developers as well who are collaborating it. Collaborating. So whenever a other person comes and view your commit, just by looking at the commit message, they should be able to understand what is the gist of your commit. So now my main intention of this commit is I'm adding .gitignore file. So I'm committing a new .gitignore file to my Git repository or to my Git database. So I can specify here added .gitignore file. So if other person comes and he sees the commit, just by seeing at the commit, he will understand that okay, this guy has added .gitignore file in this commit. They need not go inside the commit and view the files or changes that you have made. It's unnecessary to them, right? So that's why hyphen m stands for the message, and you can specify a message that is relevant to the commit. So what I can do is I can press enter. So but now I'm not doing it. Okay, let us wait it. So if I just type git commit, what you will see here is you can specify your message here. If you see, all these are comments. Whatever starts with this hyphen or this symbol, these are all comments. Okay, if you see here, whatever comes in the under the git status, you can see the same content here. Now you can write git commit message here. Okay, here you can type the git commit message, or what you can do is you can remove everything on, or you can just type your message here. Anything works fine. So what I'm doing is I'm adding added .gitignore file, and what I'm doing here is control C. I have aborted command due to empty commit message. So one way is whenever you type git commit, a pop-up or a screen appears here itself. So here you can type your message, and then you can just like you can type your message here and then press enter, so that your commit goes with this message. And you might wonder, this is clumsy. So there is another command. If you see here, you can set your favorite editor, git config minus global. Like using the configuration command, what you can set is, let's say it is appearing on the same screen here, right? This message or this pop-up where you have to enter the message is appearing here, right? Here you can specify, maybe, if you want a text file to be open, or if you want a Visual Studio file to be open, or some whatever the editor you want. Okay, so you can specify the editor using this command. After specifying the editor, if you type git commit, whatever the editor you have chosen will appear, like this message will appear on that editor. An editor opens up, and when you save the message, git commit gets pushed using the message. Okay, so now I'm not doing this. What I want to do is I'll specify my message here itself. Okay, so that is one way of doing it, where you have your editor open and you can specify the message. And another way of doing it here is specify -m and specify your message here, to add it dot git ignore file. Now if you see, yours is committed, like you like whatever the changes I have made here are committed. So this is how you move changes from the staging area to the git local like git database or the git repository. Okay, and one more thing here is, whenever you modify a file, or whenever you create a new file, you have to move it to the staging area. So sometimes it might be overhead to everyone. Like whenever you make even a small change, you have to do this git add command, and then you have to do this git commit command, right? So what git says is, so to avoid that, you need not do this git add again and again. You can specify directly in the git commit. So how it does is, let us do with an example. Now I'll modify an existing file, version.txt file. What I'll do is I'll just add a change. So when I do this, this is a tracked file and this gets modified, right? You can see under the working directory. Okay, changes not staged for commit. Ideally, what we have done till now is we do git add command. Even the same thing is specified here. You do git add version.txt, then it will move to staging area. So I'm skipping that part. So how I'm skipping is, I'm adding minus like -a in the git command itself. So when I add -a, what it does is, it automatically moves files from working directory to staging area, and from staging area it will commit it. So I need not do this git add part explicitly. Now let me do this. Changed version txt file. Okay. Now your commit has gone. Let me type git status. You don't see anything, because whenever you specify -a, it automatically adds files to the staging area and then commits changes from there. Okay. Now this -a works only for the tracked files. If you create a new file, whenever you create a new file, it is untracked, right? So untracked files, if I specify -a, it won't work. Let us try that as well. So I'll create a new file. Okay, this is untracked file example. Now I'm creating a new file here, example.txt. In the dot git ignore, I'm adding that as well, negate it. Example.txt. Let me specify git status. So in the untracked files, example.txt is there, right? Now first I'll commit this git ignore, so that it would be clear. Git commit hyphen a. Okay, yeah, what I'll do, git add dot git ignore, and I'll commit this modified git ignore. Let me type git status now. So in the git status, you have this untracked file. Okay. Now I'll commit it, because I said when I specify hyphen a, it moves files from working directory to the staging area, right? Now added example text file. Nothing added to commit. Okay, nothing added to commit, because git commit hyphen a. This hyphen a works only for the tracked modified files. This is an untracked file. This hyphen a won't move untracked files from working directory to the staging area. So git commit hyphen a is used only to stage and to stage tracked modified files and commit them. Okay, if you have any untracked file, you have to use git add command. Okay, yeah. So this is this is how this hyphen a works for the git commit command. Okay, thank you.